And I started realizing that I was going to have to change my thinking, and I really didn't know how to do it. But one thing I did was bring in the good, and I started saying Michael Bernard Beckwith's affirmation: I am available to more good than I have ever imagined, experienced, expressed, or manifested before. And I would say it over and over and over. And anytime ugly thoughts came in, that's how I would drown it out. One thing that I realized is I needed, to take small steps. And so I analyzed my situation, and I was like, what situation do I want to change the most? And that was my living situation. And I realized that every day I would go to work, but every day I would come home and I would be in those same four walls and just put myself in my tablet and play my games and not do anything else. And so I made the decision that I was going to leave the house once a day. And I knew that by doing this, that something was going to change. And I just held that intention. And so my go-to was the dog park because it was free and I could take my dog. And, I went to bookstores, and sometimes I would go to a Starbucks where a former coworker worked and hang out with them. I would just do something every day. So my friend Alyssa, who is also now a member of CSL, she came to me one day and she said, hey, a friend of mine told me about a church and I want to go check it out. And she invited me, and then she decided not to go. And now I want to check it out. Will you go with me? And I'm like, yes, I will, because that will be, my daily outing. And so I didn't think, I had no clue that was the most life-changing decision that I had ever made in my entire life. And so she and I went to CSL for the first time, and we got real anxious on the way there because we had, not so good experiences in churches before. And we even devised an exit plan. And I told Alyssa, I said, if anybody makes you feel uncomfortable or you don't want to be there, I said, just put your hand around my wrist and start walking towards the door, and I'll figure out it's time for us to go. And that was our plan, because I said, they probably won't light us on fire or anything, but the worst thing that could happen is, we might be judged, and me with my purple hair, it's really hard for us to blend in the scenery, So, but when we went, I realized that the message was real similar to the things that I had been listening to on my CD. And I had no clue until weeks later that I had walked into a New Thought church and I was listening to a New Thought CD. Hello, that was not an accident. So my biggest takeaway from the first time was I really liked the energy of the people. We were welcomed and everybody came and hugged us. And yeah, that was a little bit overwhelming because I'd never experienced it, but I never felt that much love and acceptance from complete and total strangers. And so I went and I started going and I really started listening, and I would go, to the Wednesday nights. And that's when I came to realization number 2, that the most important relationship that I'll ever have is the one that I have with myself. And shortly after I got there, they started talking about self-talk. And one day I heard somebody say, don't say anything to yourself that you wouldn't say to your best friend. And Alyssa was sitting next to me, and I looked to her and I looked in her eyes and I thought about some of the things that I had said to myself. And I thought about saying that to her, and I just started sobbing because I would never say that to her. And it made me realize how harmful and how not okay that behavior was. And so I deepened my affirmations. I added more. I started saying them more often, and I took foundations class. And, things started to shift and change.